The short answer is yes. CJX generally looks like it's a good step in the right direction for competitive R6, but I think it's important to restate something you've probably heard a lot of people mention already. CJX is not Siege 2. We've all seen what happens when a dev makes a dramatic overhaul to an FPS and then slaps a 2 on the end, but we're not dealing with tons of missing features and broken promises like Overwatch 2, nor are we getting an engine swap and a ton of fundamental system changes like CS2. CJX is just another incremental update with a new coat of paint, with the kind of engine improvements you would expect from a game in live service now entering its 10th year. In theory, we're just slotting right into a new season the same way that we always have. But based on what we saw from Reload specifically, CJX looks like a really good competitive platform. The new ban system, I love this. Not only do the first 4 bans happen much faster because both teams ban at the same time, making attackers only ban defenders and vice versa has the potential to make each half different from the last. You could be watching one game of Siege in the first 6 rounds, and then teams do bans again at the side swap, and then watch a completely different game of Siege. The third ban is also great because it forces teams to adapt on the fly. Fnatic banned 2 shield ops against Spirits and might have banned all 3, but then got torn apart by Ying, banned her after round 4, and left Monty wide open for the rest of DZ's attacking half. CAG banned a 3rd hard breacher against Elevate, which forced them to stick Ace plus someone with can openers, but that was enough for CAG to lock in on defense and win the map. The third ban's essentially a creativity check, forcing teams to go, well, what else can we try? And it almost separates the games into quarters as well as halves. Remember last year when a few tournaments tried swapping sides every 3 rounds as opposed to every 6? Doubt we'll ever see that system again now, because this feels like a far less obtrusive way to switch things up as the game progresses. We've been clamoring for more bans for years, and I think this is a more elegant solution to the growing number of ops in the game than just adding more bans. My only concern is that it's another layer of complexity added to an already complex game, so I'm just hoping people don't get confused, but in maybe 6 months, this should be a system that both viewers and pros should be way more familiar with. The Rappel changes are also fun. Watching guys fly around Cafe is just ridiculous, and it's another buff in the attacking side's arsenal after what remains a defensive-sided meta. You can start applying pressure from the windows or the roof much earlier in the round, you can reposition away from nitro cells or window peaks much faster. It's the kind of thing we could have seen years ago, but watching it now just feels like culture shock because it's so quick it looks like you used a console command. Going through windows is still the same speed, so it's still counterable the old-fashioned way if someone jumps in, but it's just something else the attackers have in their back pocket, and you pair that with no longer being able to ADS while falling. This suddenly changes jump out options on defense for maps like Bank and Cafe. You can still jump out and fire, but you can't aim until you hit the ground. So the most reliable option is to wait until you know someone's really close to you before hitting spacebar and praying. It also, almost as an afterthought, buffed claymores, because defenders are going to hit those before they hit the dirt. Combine that with attackers being able to get out of the way much faster, and the odds of someone throwing their life away on a jump out just went up in an instant. This does feel a little bit like change for change's sake, but there are enough sites or maps that make jump outs the meta, and this just further tilts that risk-reward scale further to one side. I'm not immediately opposed to it. I just want to see more play with it because it's going to force teams on defense to get more creative where you can't just pop out a window and hit right click. And Siege being the creative man's FPS means that this change does feel like it fits within that realm. Plus, when you get kills while falling now, it's way more hype.
The timing might have been really bad. And then, fire! Oh my god, are we fucking...
The gas pipes and fire extinguishers didn't do very much. Obviously only 5 maps got the X update, but we didn't see nearly as many examples of it in action as I thought. Except this one spot on Condor leading into Master. If you're playing in Bathroom, you can probably stay there for a lot longer now. I think it's a cool idea because it's map passive utility that isn't exclusive to defenders. Attackers can use them too if someone's positioned poorly. But it might result in another step in an already long checklist attackers have to get through depending on the take. I see a world where you just pop these early so you don't have to worry about them getting used against you later on in the round. But you also have to balance it so their impact isn't overwhelming, so maybe there not being a lot of examples is a good thing. I just feel like it was touted as being a bigger feature, and then I maybe noticed it less than 10 times, so Curious what you think. There's also the new map lighting, which I think jury's still out on that for now. It definitely made some maps look darker than usual, so there might be some illumination things to sort out, or the observer machines had different settings turned way up, I'm not sure. Again, it's only on 5 maps currently, same with the texture overhauls, but I'm curious to see more reactions to this once it gets into more players' hands. And there were a couple op balance changes, but I think the only one that matters is Jäger countering Capitão bolts now. Only took 8 years, but we finally got there, because Cap is an all-around solid meta pick, and Jäger's fallen off a cliff. It's not like Wamai's pick rate was high because of Cap or anything, so I don't know if Jäger's is going to go up because of this, but again, let more players have it, and then see what happens. That's the bulk of what I noticed from Reload. There's probably more going on under the hood to make the client run better, or if they've already added audio improvements to that build, but I was watching games, and generally it looked really good. And there's also some things they revealed during the showcase that are good for the comp side as well. There's finally an esports tab for schedules and scores that mostly looks like it's putting Liquipedia's functions into the game, but it looks pretty slick, and it'll be a good way to expose the esports scene to even more casual players. If they can find a way to put predictions in-game like CS does instead of going to a website, I bet interest would skyrocket even more, but what we're getting looks great. Limbs taking less damage than body shots will just reinforce the need to be a good aimer. High caliber weapons should do more damage, so gun nerds might have fun with that, but it's not too surprising. Electricity not doing damage anymore makes me sad we won't see Kaid Claw kills in the future, but not differentiating between attackers and defenders means you might need to reconsider holding a position that's too close to a reinforced wall, because you'll be screaming when you get shocked, and that's a great way to lose a gunfight. Jackal's getting a change I don't think will affect the pros too much. Blackbeard's getting a change I don't think will affect his ban rate very much. They clarified Jäger also burns track stingers now, though that might be a secret gridlock buff if she can use a Trax to burn an ADS and then throw a nade to clear actual utility. I could see that being useful, but that really only matters if we really see Jäger's pick rate go up. Thunderbird won't literally sabotage your team by healing enemies unless the stations get bravoed, which is fine. Healing abilities aren't really the meta in pro play, so I don't know if this will swing the needle at all. And sledging a Clash shield is great. But because Clash is also getting a full rework, I think it remains to be seen whether people are going to forfeit an attacker in their lineup to pick Sledge in order to be that direct counter. So all in all, I think CJX looks pretty good. It's another seasonal update that does bring a lot of changes, but not so many that it fundamentally changes the game beyond the way that it's been played for the past few years. I think pro play is going to force teams to be more adaptable, but they kind of already have to be when the meta slightly shifts every season regardless, so it seems like this is par for the course. Reload really did make me think the game's going to be in a good state for pro play moving forward. I think replacing a major with an exhibition event with an unnecessary format is a different conversation, and it's already been had a ton over the past few weeks, but I also get it. Showcase CJX above all else with some of the best teams in the world, make sure the build can withstand what pro players throw at it, give partner teams some prize pool kickback, try something silly because there's no SI points on the line, plus a couple of other reasons. It makes sense to me. But I do feel like Reload will always have this big asterisk next to it, which sucks because this is the tournament where APAC made it the furthest it's ever made it in their history, but that's not CJX's fault. Reload made CJX look good. So if for some reason you were concerned, I wouldn't be, unless it comes out and it's a little buggy or something, but it's not Siege 2. It's hopefully something a lot better. I'll see you later. Peace.